This is a follow-up to the video I did called Being Called an Uncle Tom is a Compliment. And I've received emails and I've seen other videos about Uncle Tom's Cabin that are telling mistruths about the book and about Harriet Beecher Stowe, and I wanted to address a couple of those. Now, this is the book that I downloaded, and I'm going to show you some pages. Now, the first thing is that people say that Uncle Tom did not run away as Eliza did because he wanted to be subservient to his master and he did not want to leave him. But that is not the truth. The truth is that Uncle Tom sacrificed his own freedom for the other slaves on the plantation. The only slaves that were sold were Uncle Tom and Eliza's little boy, who was about 4 or 5 years old. And the reason that they were sold is because the plantation was in danger of being lost. The slave owner was in debt. And those are the terms that the slave trader demanded. He demanded to have Uncle Tom and the little boy. Otherwise, he would not take the deal and the whole plantation would be sold off. Family separated, even Uncle Tom's wife and his children as well. Eliza overheard the slave owner and his wife talking about having sold her little boy and Uncle Tom and that they would be leaving the very next day. So that night, she packed up her son and she ran away. And on the way from the plantation, she stopped at Uncle Tom's cabin and told him of what she overheard about him being sold and that they would be sent away. And on this page, I want to show you. This is where Haley is the slave trader, and this is the slave owner, Mr. Shelby, telling his wife why Uncle Tom and the little boy had to be sold. Now, Haley is the slave trader, and here's where he's explaining that that is the way that he had to settle the matter. The slave trader would not have it any other way. So he is saying, would you feel so that they were sold if, those two, would it be better to have sold the whole plantation, all of the slaves being sold? So that part is showing, that really they didn't want to sell any of the slaves, but they were in debt and the plantation was going to be lost if they were not sold. And then this is the part here where Eliza stopped by Uncle Tom's cabin and told him that he was sold and, he was going to be shipped away. And here is Aunt Chloe, who is Uncle Tom's wife, telling him that he should go too, right here. And Uncle Tom's answer, he says, no, I'm not going. Let Eliza go, is her right. And he is saying that, did you hear what she said? If I must be sold or all the people on the place and everything go to wreck. And he is saying, let me be sold. And I suppose I can bear it as well as any of them, he added. And he was very distraught, very sad. And here he's considering his kids who he's looking at while they're asleep in their beds. Another mistruth is that Uncle Tom was beaten to death because he refused to beat 2 other slaves, and that is not the truth. Uncle Tom was beaten to death because he refused to tell the slave master where 2 slaves who were trying to escape, where they were hiding. There was a time when the evil, cruel slave master had told Tom to beat a slave woman, but Uncle Tom refused to do it. And Uncle Tom was beaten on many occasions. Now this is where Simon Legree, he is the slave master, and here is where he is talking to Uncle Tom and asking him, telling him, threatening him, unless he tells him where what he knows about the two women that are hiding. And Uncle Tom was not saying anything. He says, I got nothing to tell. And Simon Legree is telling him, do you dare to tell me, you old black Christian, you don't know? And Uncle Tom is silent. He is being beaten right here. And Uncle Tom is saying, I know, Master, but I can't tell anything. And he is saying, I can die. He is, not going to give it up. And so Uncle Tom was beaten by the slave master. And Uncle Tom, he did not die right away. He died 2 days later. And I'm going to pull that up. And here is where Simon Legree, in his own words, is telling what he did to Uncle Tom. This right here, and here he's saying that he believed he's trying to die. Uncle Tom's trying to die, but don't know if he's going to make it. And this George here, who is saying, where is he? Incidentally, this George is the slave master's son whose plantation was in danger of being lost. He was looking for Uncle Tom, searching for him where he was sold off from one slave owner to another, and he finally found Uncle Tom. He came to get Uncle Tom to buy him and take him back home. But of course, Uncle Tom had been beaten and he was on the verge of dying. And he spoke with him his last words to him. And Uncle Tom is saying not to tell Chloe how he was found, but just tell her that Uncle Tom went on to be with the Lord, that he went home. And this is where he died. One other thing I wanted to go over is these people are on these other videos are saying that Harriet Beecher Stowe was not really for blacks, that she thought blacks were subservient. And that is crazy. And I'm going to show some things she wrote in the book. At the end of the book, she made an appeal to people in America, and especially Christians, about the cruelties of slavery. And she says, do you say we don't want them here? Let them go to Africa. And she says that the providence of God has provided a refuge in Africa is indeed a great and noticeable fact, but that is no reason why the Church of Christ should throw off that responsibility to this outcast race which her profession demands of her. And she also said the first desire of the emancipated slave generally is for education. There is nothing that they are not willing to give or to do to have their children instructed, and so far as the writer has observed herself or taken the testimony of teachers among them, they are remarkably intelligent and quick to learn. The results of schools founded for them by benevolent individuals in Cincinnati fully establish this. And she gives several examples of black people successful once they were freed from slavery. For instance, this one says, full black, stolen from Africa, sold in New Orleans, been free 15 years, paid for himself $600, a farmer, owned several farms in Indiana, Presbyterian, probably worth $15,000 or $20,000, all earned by himself. And there's another one I want to read. And she's saying, if this persecuted race, with every discouragement and disadvantage, have done thus much, how much more they might do if the Christian church would act towards them in the spirit of her Lord. Harriet Beecher Stowe was a Christian, and she cared about black people. If you would look at her autobiography, or if you will look what is written about her on Wikipedia and other sites, it tells the work that she did for black people. She opened up schools and boarding homes for slaves who had been freed. This woman was not wanting blacks to be subservient. She wanted them to be equal. That's what Christianity is about. Once you're in Christ Jesus, there's no slave or bond, male nor female, Greek nor Jew. We're all equal in the name of the Lord. Thank you for listening.